thinking lately, listeners, about how loud the world asks us to be someone. Like someone productive, spiritually awake, someone who has it all figured out by 35. And somewhere in all that noise, we stop asking the quietest, most dangerous question: who am I when no one is watching? And nothing needs to be posted, proven, or performed. Now, today on this episode of the Mindful Living, listeners, we are sitting with someone who has spent over a decade refusing to answer that question with anything less than the full truth. Miranda Mitchell started with a daily Ashtanga practice that cracked her open, then dove headfirst into human design, gene keys, and astrology. Not as just another, typical personality quiz, but as maps for coming home when you have forgotten the address. She teaches that creativity isn't a nice to have, it is the emergency exit from numbness. So, with that, Miranda, welcome to the Mindful Living, and thank you so much because I am very sure you are going to bring your whole unfiltered self here today. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for such a great introduction.
Um, Okay, Miranda, let's because we are diving deep into human design. So if I also because I have come to know about human design, I really am really thankful to all these conversations and with so many guests around the world. I have come to know a bit about human design, but let's say if somebody doesn't know about it, first thing that will they will think about human design is that it's a cooler version of just a personality test. But you have said it's actually a deconditioning tool. So how exactly does it make sense, and what's the hardest layer of conditioning you see people carrying when they first sit down with their chart?
Well, I love the connection with the personality tests and human design because I have also looked at personality tests. And what I have witnessed within the personality tests is there is the deconditioning aspect that is not uh it is not viewed upon. We feel like we take these personality tests and they're accurate because we are conditioned. So the thing that I love about human design is it gives you a roadmap of your energy, of what you're here to do, how you're here to express, how you're here to talk, create, be of service, how you connect with people. And by learning the energies of the chart,
Hmm.
you witness, or as you dive deeper into the chart, you can witness where you are conditioned because we are conditioned from the minute we're born on what sex we are, where we live, who we are in our family. We are fully conditioned the moment we are born. So when you're able to see the chart and you're able to look at where there's variable energy, which is all the white areas in the chart, and where there's consistent energy, the first step is understanding, oh, this experience that I had or belief about myself that I had is not true. It was conditioned by my parents or it was conditioned by my experience. I'm not saying conditioning is wrong because some of it is beautiful, but it's the awareness of understanding where we're conditioned so we can choose to use that conditioning in a way that supports us and humanity, or we can choose to let go of that conditioning because it does not suit us, even though there's many conditioning that even by TV, you should want to get married, have white picket fence, have a house, have a job, be stable. So many people, including myself, did that. And thought I was happy, but I was not happy. I did not feel alive. I did not feel excited. I was like, is this all life is? And then I realized that through the conditioning of societal norms, I thought that's what we were supposed to do. So within learning about my human design chart, I was able to recognize that the way that I speak in Mercury is sometimes intense. And I was really conditioned to be a people pleaser, not rock the boat, and to make sure everything is safe in the house and not express myself. And I was really suppressing who I was because of being in the role of what I thought I should be. So that's just like the iceberg of it, but we're all conditioned. And what I have learned through the human design chart, I've been studying it for 7 years now and
Mhm.
implementing it for 7 years. And I'm still letting go of certain beliefs and expectations and all of that. But I feel the most alive that I've ever been. I feel the most expressed I've ever been. I do not shame myself or feel guilty in the way that I express. And I have boundaries. Whereas before, I always thought as a woman, I need to be quiet and make sure that I have the house peaceful and all of that stuff. When in reality, I'm the opposite.
Wait, same here, Miranda, because um, I mean, yeah, to some extent, kind of a bit of not, I wouldn't say it's conditioning, but I think it's more of, like upbringing or extracting from our environment. Because as a child, our world revolves around our parents or the people, with whom you're growing up, maybe our school or maybe our friends. But then at the same time, I think, because I also personally kind of, I used to think that I shouldn't be straightforward. I always should be diplomatic, and I shouldn't say no to anything. If I personally, within me, I do not want to do something, let's just kind of, do not give a hint that I do not want to do this, but let's just kind of, ignore it. Okay, I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do. But personally, within me, I know I cannot do it. No, it's not possible. It's that just this, hesitation, this masking that, I'm not the one who I'm actually. So that is something I can so much connect at, different levels here. Um and um talking about gene keys, Miranda, I mean, gene keys work moves through shadow, gift, and then siddhi. Now, most of us romanticize the gift and we want to skip the shadow completely. But before that, everything, if you can, because personally, I'm also very curious to understand from this perspective, if you can explain about gene keys and especially this shadow, gift, and siddhi kind of.
Mm. Yeah, this is a lot of the deeper work. So what I do when I work with people, I go into their human design first, look at their deconditioning, where they're conditioned, where they're suppressing, where they need to let go of. I feel like the human design aspect is more masculine. It's like how we are to put ourselves in the world, how we make decisions, how to let go. And then the gene keys is associated with human design. So Richard Rudd received all of these transmissions with the gene keys, and Ra Uru Hu received the download of human design. They did work together, and then after they ended up splitting directions because Richard was going more so into the body aspects, and Ra did not like that. So Richard, I feel like the human design is more masculine, and I feel like the gene keys is more feminine. And that's where I come back to the Ashtanga practice of like contemplation and self-reflection. So the gene keys gives us a different layer or different lens of understanding the activations in our human design chart because it gives us three frequencies of how the energy is experienced: the shadow, the gift, and the city. The shadow, like you said, a lot of people don't want to express it. They want to tell it it's bad, get rid of it. It's not good for me. I don't want to admit it. The gift is where people feel safe, feel like they belong, feel like they're doing the right thing. And then the city actually shows up randomly, just like within your yoga practice at that point in time, and you have that moment in time where you just have all out peace. So the city only shows up for a bit, for a moment at a time. It's not something to work towards that you always want to be within. Because the truth is, within society, we live between the shadow and the gift. Now, the shadow, I honestly say, is the gift because the shadow gives us the opportunity to understand where we're out of alignment. So when we are experiencing a shadow, like for me, for instance, my conscious sun in human design or my life's work in the Gene Keys, the shadow is you know what? I always talk about this one. I'm going to go to a different one. The the purpose that I'm here for, to learn through experiences, and the purpose I'm here for is through gate 38. And the shadow of that through the Gene Keys lens is fighting. The gift is having the awareness of knowing that the fight is not me against the world. It's me for something that I believe in. So it's that fighting aspect. It's the energy of the way that you experience that energy of being the fighter. So there's that fighting of me against the world, which is the shadow. Me against the world, I have to prove myself. That's my purpose. Everything's going to be hard. Everything's going to be a struggle. The gift is I'm fighting for the things I feel like the frequency is in alignment and I need within integrity. I'm fighting for these things. And then the Siddhi is valor. And what that means in this aspect is trusting that you are that person that energetically shifts and supports through the awareness of that fight. I don't know if that makes sense, but the shadow is always showing up for us when we're out of alignment. So instead of saying, oh, I want this shadow to go away, whether it's fighting, whether it's inadequacy, whether it's doubt, or whatever it is that shows up, when you push it away and say, I no longer want to be feeling this anymore, you are only loving yourself conditionally, because these are actually tools for you to witness where you're pushing, proving out of alignment. So when doubt or inadequacy or fighting shows up, it's an opportunity for you to sit back and ask yourself, where am I out of alignment? Where am I comparing myself? Where am I judging myself? Where am I projecting myself out into the world? And then as soon as you do that, you automatically shift into the perspective of gift. So within our life, what happens is we're constantly fluctuating between the shadows and the gift. When we get stressed, when we get tired, when we get sick, we go into that shadow aspect. But the awareness of the shadow, embracing it, loving it, witnessing it, then moves you into the gift rather than pushing it away and saying something's wrong with me. Someone said something about the frequency of the planet and the shadow. And it finally hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense, because there's so many people that say we live in illusion. And so many of humanity lives in the shadow. We are all conditioned to look at the negative, to view the negative. And because most of humanity is living in that shadow aspect, it creates a veil over our humanity of illusion of fear. And if people would start understanding the gift and the shadow, how they work together, we would lift that veil that is covering humanity and be more in the gift frequency. That's how I feel.
It actually makes sense, because to go to the gift, I call it a stage, let's say, if I call it stage, to go to that guilt stage, first we have to acknowledge that yes, there's a shadow, and there's kind of a self-acceptance as well here, that there is a shadow, and I kind of I do not want to outrun or transcend the shadow too fast. Just to skip on to the gift part here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some people are afraid to face the shadows. I fully feel we're all beings of light. And I feel like the people that are the most full of light are those that face their shadows over and over again. There was a meme or something that I saw one time. It was of the buffalo, and it said a statement of the buffalo doesn't run from the storm. It turns around and faces it head on, because it knows that it will get out of it if you face it head on. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is me. 100%.
Wow. Yeah. It is. It is powerful. It is powerful. And Now, when it comes to human design, let's bring in a bit of a pushback here. Now, it can feel a bit deterministic, like, oh my goodness, I'm just maybe 3 out of 5 profile. Guess I'm doomed to always do this trial and error forever. Doesn't leaning on too heavily on the system just, trade one box, like, for example, social conditioning for another slightly more mystical box?
Well, I love that question because there are definitely, I mean, it's the same with gurus, it's the same with religion. I feel like people definitely put themselves in a box. I think that a lot of that is the way that people are raised and also fear. Human design is another way that you sure can get into a box. However, the way that I teach it is do the deconditioning, release all the stuff that is not true for you, understand where you're conditioned, use that as a way to support you to grow, and then step out of the potential of that box because you're here to create more. I also do cycle readings, and each year we actually have a new layer or lens through human design, which I absolutely love because it's like I'm a 2-4 man-gen. I'm here to respond. I hermit, I hibernate, I have the undefined G center, I have like all of these things. But then I did my cycle year, and this year, even though I'm still within the realm of like man-gen energy, I am actually in the energy of an emotional projector, which means my veil over my original chart is more so this year to wait, to sit back, respond, to be recognized for my genius, not to be constantly doing output. So you you can use it as a person, like if they're in that fear aspect and they're trying to find a way to fit in, yes, you definitely can stay in a box. And that's deconditioning because that's like they're needing something to fit in. There's fear and inadequacy or whatever's showing up. Once you actually do that work, you actually realize that it's a tool to get to the next thing and step into a higher potential. So I'm like, if you'll notice, I do human design, gene keys, astrology. I do somatic work with equine gestalt. Like, I don't just do one modality. I take all of them that feel accurate in whatever's showing up and support you in whatever area that supports you in.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that openness, that flexibility invites for clarity as well. Yeah, because nothing is just, it's constant and it's done and dusted. There can be no changes, there can be no nuance in here. I think you know it, healthy discussions and healthy conversations, I mean, people can have different opinions and belief systems, but there is no defensiveness in terms of, okay, what you are saying is wrong, what I'm saying, that is only right because I've done the whole work for it, so yeah, I'm right.
And I love people that think differently than me. I used to, in relationships, I used to look for always that person that we kind of like thought the same thing, looked at the same thing, like felt life had the same meaning and all of that. And through my work and understanding myself now, it's like, no, I want relationships with people that think drastically different than me, that's going to make me take in new perspectives and maybe be curious in the way that I am either perceiving things or projecting things and having those conversations where I get to learn from people that are very different from me. Because otherwise, we again stay in that box. If we can be open minded and have communication or relationships with people that are really different, have really different belief systems, but honor you for who you're at and your opinions, then I feel like that's where everyone learns and grows.
Absolutely great. And before we wrap up, I think this is such an important question. Like, it's kind of counterintuitive. Like, you talk a lot about fun, play, reclaiming joy. I absolutely agree with that. But then, um, i- some spiritual circles say that joy is a distraction from doing the real deep work. Um, so are we just slapping glitter on the wound, or and calling it healing? Or do you think that we all need that kind of joy and happiness?
Oh, I think we need it, but I also feel like everything in moderation. There are certain times that I am in the darkness and in the muck and in pain and releasing things and in the heaviness. And then after that, that joy comes. So I feel like it's a balance between the two. We have to be able to appreciate both and also not having attachment to either one of them.
Mm, yeah, yeah. And that absolutely makes sense. Okay, so Miranda, if listeners they would like to connect with you and get access to all your work, and also they would love to listen to your podcast as well, I'm very sure. What would be the best way?
You can go to my website, which is miranda-mitchell.com. There's a lot of information about what I do there. I also do most of my posting on Instagram. So you can go to Miranda J. Mitchell at Instagram. And my podcast is Provoking Prosperity Podcast.
Wonderful. Listeners, I'm going to have all these links mentioned for you in the show notes. So just reach out to Miranda, share your thoughts. And if you want to explore her work, do that. And also, I invite all of you to listen to her podcast. And before we conclude, I think if I'm sitting here feeling the weight of everything we touched today, something lighter, like a small door just cracked open, because Miranda didn't hand us another strategy to become better version of ourselves. She reminds us that maybe the goal isn't becoming anything at all. It's just to stop abandoning the person who's already here. Shadows, maybe weird loves and all. So, listeners, if today stirred something within you, don't rush to fix it. Maybe just pause, put one hand on your heart, one on your belly, and ask out loud, if you are brave, what do you need from me right now that I have been too busy performing to hear? Miranda, thank you so much. You have really helped us, model what it looks like to answer that question honestly, daily.
Thank you. Thank you so much. These are wonderful questions.
Thank you so much. And thank you to all the listeners for tuning into this episode of The Mindful Living. Until next time, this is your host, Sana, inviting all of you to breathe, feel, create, messily, if necessary. Thank you.